All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the B&E podcast. Brandon, how you doing today, man?
Uh, Game night, prime time,
Yeah,
I'm here. Let's put it that way. I'm good besides that. What about you, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Well, all things considered, yesterday, we'll get into that.
Yep.
It's strange though. There was a bunch of games that ended in 20-17. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but there was like three or four games. The score was 20-17. I thought that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I made a note. It was a lot of them. There was 17-17 tied.
Yeah,
And from there I didn't even pay attention to it after that. But I definitely had that in my notes yesterday when I was watching the early games. For
gotcha.
sure.
All right, man. Let's get it going with the opening drive.
All right, so Tom Brady, he's become the first player to throw for 100,000 yards in his career. That includes regular and postseason combined. Was he 23 years in the league now? So that kind of makes sense. Bears quarterback Justin Fields, he set an NFL record for quarterback rushing yards with 178 on the ground against the Dolphins on Sunday. That prompted Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel to tell him to, quote, stop it on the sidelines at one point in the game. He kind of looked like a kid there because he's so small. Packers linebacker Rashawn Gary, he tore his ACL. Unfortunately, he'll be out for the rest of the season with that injury there. A little bit of drama still in DC. Dan Snyder, he reportedly wants to sell Washington, the Commanders franchise, for $7 billion, everyone. And a little bit of coaching news, major coaching news, actually. Frank Reich, he's out as the Colts head coach. He finished with a 40-33-1 record after joining the team back in 2018. The Colts were blown out in Foxborough on Sunday, 26-3. ESPN analysis and longtime Colts offensive lineman, the center, Jeff Saturday, Super Bowl winner there. He's been named interim head coach, a guy that, catching a lot of flack right now for not having head coaching experience. They mentioned the fact that Gus Bradley is on the staff. That's one of the main names they mentioned out there. So yeah, very interesting call there for the Irsay family and the general manager there that survived the cut as of now as well.
Yeah, I was shocked when you texted me earlier about this and you said Jeff Saturday was an interim coach. I was like, what the hell? He's an interim coach. That's what I thought to myself. Like you said, he ain't got no coaching experience. So I wonder how that's gonna work out. As far as Frank Reich, I don't know, man. I think he got the short end of the stick because look at his history. He hasn't had the same quarterback since he started. Like first he had Andrew Luck, who unfortunately retired, and then he had Jacoby Brissett, and then he had Matt Ryan. I mean, before that, Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. I mean, he didn't have any consistency at coaching. You look at his record, 40-33. That ain't too bad to me, but that's the NFL. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that record. It's not bad for 4.5 years or whatever, five and a quarter years, whatever. You mentioned the quarterbacks. I think right after I've said it before, you've agreed that the Jacoby Brissett situation, they should have kept him at least until they drafted somebody that was, able to come in there because he's been proven to develop these quarterbacks in his career. So yeah, he definitely got the short end of the stick. I did kind of figure he was on the hot seat heading into this year. I remember texting you on Sunday saying that he's probably on the hot seat if they were to lose. And of course, they got blown out there in New England, which is typical because Bill Belichick typically plays rookie and second year starter quarterbacks very well.
Yeah.
So that was kind of to be seen, but a lot of injuries there. I don't even think Shaq Barrett is back. So, I mean, it's just, Leonard, I'm sorry, Shaq Leonard. But yeah, the quarterback situation never got fixed there. So when it's that's one big reason to get you out the door. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes now. And I think that also real quick that Jeff Saturday, if they talked him out of coming out of ESPN, not saying that ESPN is like the dream job or whatever, but you take this guy out of TV to come to be your interim head coach, I'm pretty sure he's going to get that 99% chance, I would say right now, that he's going to stay on as head coach moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll see what happens. All right, man, let me just get this game out the way so I don't have to think about it no more. Vikings beat the Commanders 20-17. The first drive, I thought Justin Jefferson was going to get 100 damn receiving yards on the first drive because he had like 3 or 4 completions or receptions at like 50 yards. Then he had that. I think he got a touchdown that first drive too. But man, typical Commanders football. They hang around, and they break your heart in the end, either with a penalty, something dumb, or turnover. But and then I don't know if you saw after the game was over, the Vikings showed a clip of Kirk Cousins celebrating on the plane, like shirtless. He had some chains on, dancing around. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't. It's yeah. I don't know, man. This is typical Commanders football. Like I said, a lot of people think Taylor Heineke is better than Carson Wentz, and he could be a future. Maybe he is better than Carson Wentz, but I certainly don't think he's a future. Like my goddamn Mark was saying last week, this dude is a lucky charm, man. A lot of the stuff he does is like pure luck. I don't know did you see any of this game, man?
Yeah, I was watching on the split screen, so I was.
He had a play where he threw it up to Curtis Samuel, and it was like going into like 3 or 4 Vikings defenders, and the ref was in the unfortunate spot. He like kind of like bumped into one of the defenders, and Curtis Samuel somehow was able to catch the ball and fall and then roll into the end zone. And it's just stuff like that, like lucky stuff, fluke stuff like that.
Yeah.
That Taylor Heineke kind of gets away with. But in the end, he that luck kind of wore out. He threw a late game interception when the game was still tied 17-17. And it kind of gave the Vikings some more life. We held them at the goal line. They kicked a field goal. It would have been like 1 minute and 52 seconds left. So maybe Taylor Heineke would have put it up. But like I said, typical Commanders football, they called a penalty on the field goal. The field goal was they said it was a personal foul, roughing, not the roughing the passer, but they had contact with the center, and they gave them a first down, and basically they ran out the clock and kicked another field goal.
Okay.
And they had like a last minute the Commanders had like a last minute play, but it wasn't enough. They were at their like 25-30 and basically did like a bunch of laterals, but they didn't I think Antonio Gibson ran the ball out of bounds, but the clock kept running. That was that. So 4-5. I wasn't expecting the Commanders to win this game anyway, to be honest with you. But the way they lost is just typical. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth for a Commanders fan. What did you think about this game?
Yeah, I picked Minnesota heading into that game, I guess records wise, and then it was very close early on. So I did kind of was like, oh shoot, maybe this might be a trap game. But it's funny, like you mentioned the typical Commanders game, because that's exactly what I put in my notes. I was like, it is words, typical Commanders game. I must agree. Yeah, I think my play of the game that kind of set the tone in this one was the Heineke late game interception to Harrison Smith. And then how about that celebration, the bowling pin thing in the end zone? That was kind of pretty cool in my eyes. I'm not a big fan of celebrations, but I did like that one.
Really?
Yeah, I think like I understand why they do it because they work so hard for it. But to me, it's like, especially this is a little bit different situation because they were on the verge of winning. But there's been situations where I've seen players like down 15, 20 points in that range and get a big sack or turnover, something like that. And they're really celebrating. I'm like, okay, in my eyes, y'all need to get back to the sideline, regroup, get your, the opposing offense, get your team's offense back out there, score, get back in the game, and then celebrate at the end. But I do understand the aspects of it that they work so hard during the week, the body grind, the regular grind, you're totally away from your families, all that type of stuff. So I can understand where they want to celebrate when they make a big play and then want to make a name for themselves as well. But yeah, Minnesota's got to be the quietest 7-1 team. I think I mentioned that before. On each week that they've won, they don't be blowing people out. They just find ways to win. And like you mentioned, Justin Jefferson, he always gets his. So another great game for him. And then TJ Hawkinson coming over in the trade early in the week from the Detroit Lions. He had 9 receptions, 70 yards, made his presence felt out there. But for the Vikings, I mean, a lot of people, I don't know if you knew about this, Kevin O'Connell, of course, he came home as well, homecoming for him with the quarterback Kirk Cousins, but he also had his, I want to say it was his first child on Friday, a little girl, I believe. They was talking to him in the pregame, and He said that he was able to, do the dad type things, go to the hospital with his wife,
Yeah.
stay there overnight, see his daughter was born and able to fly out with the team and land just in time, or meet up with the team just in time to get out.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a lot on his plate, and to think that they came out like that and pulled out a gutsy win there, very close win, full team effort there. So yeah, congratulations to Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. Again, a very quiet 7-1 team in the
Yeah.
NFC.
I do kind of want to shout out the Commanders defense a little bit, even though they had that. Well, I guess that's more on special teams, but they did have that penalty at the end of the game because the offense, man. I mean, Heineke only threw for 149 yards. We couldn't really get nothing established on a running game. Brian Robinson, he only had 44 yards on 13 carries, but that defense is keeping us around in games. Hopefully, drawing a blank, Chase Young, he can come back within the next
True.
couple of weeks and bolster that defensive line even more, because Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and those boys, they are getting after the quarterback. I think Kirk's cousin got sacked a couple of times in this game. And I know he got hurt a little bit more than that, but
Yeah.
I want to shout out the Commanders defense. They are leaving us in these games. It's just typical Commander football where it's something we shoot ourselves in the foot and we lose a game.
Yep. All right, everyone. I'm doing my best Fireman Ed impersonation now. For those of y'all that are familiar with the Jets, Jets,
Oh,
Jets,
God.
Jets, Jets. I know he's on a high right now. I think they said he kind of retired from going to the games, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago.
Shit, I don't blame him.
But still, his Jets beat an AFC powerhouse, and they really dominated them.
Yeah.
All we kept hearing about heading into this game was Stephon Diggs versus Sauce Gardner, and it did live up to the hype early on. Stephon Diggs got his early in the game, but in the end, the rookie came out on top. He had an interception against Josh Allen. One of the worst games you could say that we've seen from Josh Allen. Actually, Josh Allen has had 2 games this year that are really kind of interesting. But yeah, sticking to this game. And then he had great coverage on that final play. I believe he was the cover guy on that final play of the game to seal the game. But a lot of people could probably say at this point, are the Jets really that good, or is the team buying into Robert Saleh's message? I give respect where respect's due. I think they're good. They're in a very decent division right now. They're winning games that that they need to do. But I think the thing that's holding them back is the quarterback. And Zach Wilson, he had a very decent game on Sunday. He was efficient with the ball, no turnovers. No, I'm sorry. He did have a fumble, but he didn't have an interception. He had a little bit of help from his rookie first rounder, Garrett Wilson, 8 receptions, 92 yards. But yeah, Josh Allen, he said after the game that the Buffalo quarterback played like shit. I mean, which obviously he's the Buffalo quarterback. So, it would have been worse if he wasn't out there. I mean, the guy led their team in rushing yards. They weren't really doing much else on the ground besides him. Singletary, 24 yards, Cook, 15 yards. So, and he got in the end zone twice as well. But those 2 interceptions were a big factor in this game. Moving forward, I'm not concerned about the Bills. I've seen them lose games like this mid-season. Typically, it's been at home, but, if you can lose one, you want to lose it on the road. You want to protect your home field. So I guess that's the silver lining out of this. But, Josh Allen being the leader that he is, he did say again that, he understood that it was his fault and he didn't put the blame on anybody else. He knows that he's got to get back to work and get moving on to next week. I think they'll be all right as time goes on. I mean, this was a lot of people's Super Bowl favorites. So did you catch this game? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I finally got Red Zone working again. So I didn't watch like the whole game, but I was watching it when Red Zone put it on. I think Josh Allen can blame somebody. He can blame that Jets defense because they were getting after him. They sacked him 5 times. And as he mentioned, he threw those 2 interceptions and he fumbled the ball twice as well. He did have a good game considering he ran the ball pretty well. He had 9 rushes with 86 yards.
Yes.
And you mentioned those 2 touchdowns. Those are both on the ground. But that Jets defense, man, they coming to play. I think they're the main reason they got these 6 wins.
Definitely.
I was surprised. I was kind of surprised they won this game, even though going into this game, a lot of people were picking them for an upset. I could see them upset them, but I was still surprised to see how they impacted Josh Allen.
True.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got two brothers playing that team, Quentin Williams and Quincy Williams. I think those two are
Yes.
brothers.
Yeah, I
But I
remember seeing a
know,
segment. Yep.
okay, they are. Okay,
Yep.
cool. I know Quentin Williams, that dude is a beast on the D line, man. Like that dude is a beast.
Hmm.
And you mentioned Sauce Gardner. He did get beat that one play early in I think it might have been the first play of the game where Diggs caught that long
Yeah.
ball on him, caught it with a nice stutter step move to get past him. But after that, he didn't really have too much damage. I think what did you say? He had like 5 catches for like 80 something yards, 90
Yeah,
something
he
yards.
recovered I think most of Diggs' catches, if I'm not mistaken, were in the first half. He
Yeah,
recovered in the second half.
that first catch was 42 yards, and he had 93 yards the rest of the game, or 93 yards total. So that Jets defense, man, they're gonna make some noise coming up. I don't know if it'll be enough for them to like win the division. I still got the Bills ahead of them, and I think the Dolphins, which we'll talk about a little later, are better than them as well. But I definitely want to shout out that Jets defense. You mentioned Zach Wilson, that's their weak point. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I got Elijah Moore on my fantasy team. I drafted him in like the 8th or 9th round, thinking he have a breakout year. He's been a total bust because he doesn't get the ball thrown at all. I mean, last week he got like a target. He sat out the week before because he wanted to get traded because they ain't throwing the ball. You look at the stat sheet today or yesterday, no targets. They don't throw the ball. So he basically out there just running routes and blocking. Good luck to him going forward in the future, man. I hope something can happen where he gets involved in the offense, but
Yep.
I don't know. It's looking ugly for him. But hey, at least they're winning. But we'll see what happens going forward with the Jets. Salute to them for beating the Bills.
Absolutely. Very good team. Very good win. They came out on top of. So the Bears are who we thought they were. Rest in heaven to the great Dennis Green, who said that years ago, back when we was in high school. The Bears, they put up a fight, but they came out just short of a win at Soldier Field. And the Dolphins are now 6-3. Man, the quarterback play in this game. I mean, Justin Fields, he had himself a field day on the revamped Miami defense, now featuring who's the guy name?
Bradley Chubb.
Thank you. I had a brain freeze. Bradley Chubb from a trade over from Denver.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, he had the most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game.
Man.
Yeah. We mentioned the fact that when he went to the sideline that one play, I'll never forget that. You see Mike McDaniel is like, he's so probably only a couple of inches shorter than him, but he looks so much shorter, I guess, because I don't know, because he looks young anyway. So I guess that's what makes he's like, stop it. So yeah, stellar performance by the quarterback Justin Fields there, despite the loss. He also had 3 touchdowns through the air, so we can't take anything away from there. They had a great touchdown pass to Mooney. It's one guy I think you've mentioned several times over the last couple months.
Yeah.
One of the young receivers making a name for himself there. But this Dolphins team, they're starting to gain more and more believers. To another big day passing for him, just cracked over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, great quarterback rating.
Yeah.
I was watching First Take on Monday morning. Stephen A. Smith, he said that Tyreek is quietly a candidate for MVP.
Yeah, someone else said that.
Yeah, it kind of shocked me at first. You get the respect of Stephen A. Smith. That means you're doing something. I mean, we know Tyreek is out there balling and stuff, but to think that a wide receiver could actually win that award would be something good to see, something different. But yeah, if the Dolphins, if they were able to contain Justin Fields a little bit more, it'd probably been more of a blowout because, I mean, he kept drives going, first down after first down. He had one big run for 61 yards, I see, but that's still, way nowhere near to what he finished altogether. But yeah, hats off to the Bears, despite the loss, exceeding expectations this year. They're playing hard. They got a good young nucleus. I think they got to get some pieces around Justin Fields, but he's definitely doing what he needs to do to keep this team competitive, especially over the last couple of weeks. Did you catch any of this one?
Yeah, I did. I was watching this on Red Zone too, man. That 61-yard run that Justin Fields had, that's probably one of the best plays of the year, man. We were talking about him earlier in the season. You were like, I want to see how he looks. I was like, this dude's a bust.
Yeah.
These last couple of games, he's put up some really nice performances. In my opinion, I think the Bears might have something here. If he can stay healthy, with his play style, the
Mhm.
Bears really might have something because he's got an arm. He's got to work on the accuracy some, but that dude is electric on the ground. He might not be like as quick or fast as Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, but if he's not, he's like just one step below those
Yep.
guys. This dude, man, he gets in the open field. You're gonna have to hit him because he'll slide, but most of the times he's looking to like break a big run. And
Mhm.
those, like you said, those other runs he had, man, those are like third down and 5, third and 7, third and 11s. I seen him take off. He breaks contain, gets out of the backfield and scrambles for the extra yards. He did that on like third down. I want to say like 3 or 4 times at least, man. This dude might be a problem. They picked up Chase Claypool.
Correct.
And I think that was really good for them because I heard that the Packers are real close to getting them, and then the Bears, they got him instead, which I
Yep.
think if the Packers got him, Chase Claypool, Aaron Rodgers, that probably been a really nice dynamic matchup or duo. But the
Definitely.
Bears got him instead. I know they were laughing at them for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But the Tua, and as you mentioned, Tyreek, man, I think they say this is like the fastest a person's ever got to 1,000 yards through
Mhm.
9 games receiving. And I think he's on pace right now. The way he's going, he might eclipse 2,000 yards receiving. I think they say he's on pace for like 2,200 yards. So that MVP nods or consideration that he's starting to get, if he keeps playing like this, man, we really might have to do this. He
Yeah.
might beat what Cooper Kupp did last year when he got the Triple Crown. Now
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know if he's going to get there as far as touchdowns, but like
Touchdowns. Yeah.
catches and receiving yards,
True.
this dude is doing his thing. And then they still got Jalen Waddle. This dude, I think he had 100 yards too. Let me look this up real quick,
5
man.
for 85. He was
Oh
close
yeah,
though.
585. That's
Yep.
incredible too, man.
Yep.
Those two, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, are so fast, man. You try to
Mhm.
double team Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle is going to eat you up, man. And Tua Tagovailoa, man. Tyreek said he's the most accurate, in the preseason. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, he's just saying that. But
Yeah.
you watch him play, man. He's getting the
Yeah.
ball out of his hand, and that ball is on them.
A vast
His
improvement.
his arm might not be the best as far as throwing a deep ball because, I mean, you can't have everything, and he does have 2 of the fastest guys out there, so they kind of have to wait for the ball sometimes, but it is on them. I don't know, man. I think they might win the AFC East. They got Bradley Chubb to bolster up the defense. They keep getting the line, gelling and everything, get some more chemistry on the defensive side of the ball. Because that offense, man, they are a well-oiled machine already, in my opinion. I think they might win the AFC East. I think they could beat the Bills. And honestly, I could see them coming out the AFC. They might mess around and get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
We'll
might
see
have
what
a
happens.
Cincinnati type turnaround.
Man, seriously. We will see
Yeah.
what happens. All right, so let's look at this other game. This Chargers beat the Falcons 20-17. Cordero Patterson came back in this game. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Did you see this game at all? This is a kind of a wonky one towards the end of the game.
Yeah, the Chargers, they're like the Giants for me, man. Every time I pick against them, they win. I'm just tired of this shit, man. I'm serious. Every time I pick the Falcons and yeah, they let me down. I mean, I didn't think it would be a blowout either way, but yeah, definitely was. I was paying close attention to it, closer to the end of the game. Both teams, I was looking at the box score, which I didn't realize this till later on, that both teams shut out the other in each quarter. So like one quarter was Atlanta shut out the Chargers, and then vice versa in the next quarter, and then So yeah, that was kind of crazy. But yeah, it looks like your boy Kyle Pitts was another no call, no show,
man.
27 yards.
God.
But that Drake London fumble was kind of big too. Khalil Mack, he almost took it 90 some yards to the house. I mean, he has some speed on. We know Khalil Mack can rush the passer, but I didn't think he was that fast. He almost got away from them guys. Gave the Chargers a boost there in the third quarter. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure Drake London, he'll learn from that mistake. But yeah, for the Chargers, it was nothing real flashy for them, besides Joshua Palmer. He got his, but
Yeah.
everybody else was kind of quiet. I mean, Eckler had a lot of carries, just under 50 yards. He got in the end zone. Herbert's stats weren't amazing. He didn't have a great day. He still did his thing, but yeah, I just wish the Chargers were a little bit more consistent, because we'll see them come win a game like this, and then we'll see them either lose next week or drop two in a row, something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know Chargers fans they're excited because obviously they're 5-3 right now,
Yeah.
still in the hunt, I guess you could say, but they know in the back of their minds what's coming ahead.
Yeah. I think the Chargers, they just got to get healthy because they were without Mike Williams.
Receiving core, yeah, short.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen. I don't know. Hopefully Keenan Allen comes back. I think he's dealing with like a hamstring issue or something because he's been out for a while. So I'm gonna give a little slack to Herbert on that just because he was out. His two starting receivers, Joshua Palmer and DeAndre Carter, they came in and filled the void pretty well. Then they got Mr. Reliable Austin Eckler back there, as you mentioned. He had a touchdown rushing and receiving. I think he might be tied or leading the NFL in touchdowns now. And I think the first couple of weeks he ain't scored. Now he got like 10. So that's crazy. But yeah, man, you talk about Kyle Pitts, Marcus Mariota, man, he is killing me because Kyle Pitts got open deep and Mariota overthrew him. If he would have caught that, that would have been a big play. Probably would have scored because he beat the defender, had like 3 or 4 steps on him as well. But I don't know, man. This Falcons game, it's kind of, I don't want to say typical Falcons, but it is typical. They lose these close games or they take a lead and they blow it. I don't know if you saw the end of the game, but the Chargers are driving down the field, and then Austin Eckler fumbled.
Yes.
Falcons defender pick it up, take long ground. He running with the ball, and he wasn't running with the ball. The ball just fell out of his hand. If you look at the replay, he's running like this with the ball, and the ball literally just falls out of his hand. Nobody hit him or anything. The ball falls out of his hand, and the Chargers recovered. They drive back down the field again and kick a field goal to win the game. Who's the kicker for the Chargers? This is my man's name. Shout out to him real quick. Where's my guy name? Cameron Dicker.
Yeah, Cameron
Shout out
Dicker.
to you for getting that game-winning field goal. Shout out to Dicker. But yeah, man, Falcons blow another game, but the NFC South is so damn awful at this point. They still might be in the first place. I gotta check the standings, but yeah, they're still in the hunt. So we'll see what happens. They're close, they're close. They're just a little bit. They're second in the division. They're 3-3 in their conference and everything. But
they're tied with Tampa. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see how they go.
That's wild.
Going forward. We will see how they go. Speaking of Tampa, though, they beat the Rams yesterday 16-13. It took them 59 minutes, but they finally got a touchdown to beat the Rams 16-13. You see this game at all?
Yeah, I was watching this on the split screen. It was great to have 2 games in the afternoon that I could split it and actually pay close attention to both. That was real cool. But yeah, Bucs fans.
Before you go on, I'm sorry to cut you off. It is funny as you mentioned that because I was watching Red Zone and it was just those 2 games.
Yep.
So they just kept switching back and forth between those games. I was like, this is awesome.
That's the beauty of the bye weeks. Like when I think they had 6 teams on a bye week, so that just made the schedule perfect. Yeah, Bucs fans, they're feeling good. I mean, they finally got a win in there. So Brady being Brady led the team back on that final drive. I think it was less than a minute or just over a minute for the go-ahead winning touchdown. I remember watching the announcers. I want to say that was Romo and Nance, if I'm not mistaken. It was like, he's done this and Romo and Nance. And it was like he's done this in so many Super Bowls, so they have no doubt, Tampa fans and Tampa players and everything have no doubt that they're going to go down. I had some doubt because I was like you said, it took them 59 damn minutes to get a touchdown. Legit. I mean, damn, it's way too many passing attempts for Tom Brady. If I'm a Tampa fan, I don't like that, but they don't have much of a choice right now because they can't run the ball. I mean, the running game is missing in action for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vita Vea really had himself a game. He had a big sack there on Matthew Stafford. That was 1 of 4. I remember watching him. He did the push mower celebration out on the field. That was really cool. He's one of my favorite defensive tackles. So I always like to watch him when I'm watching Tampa on the defensive side of the ball. But that Los Angeles Rams offensive line needs some life support for real, for real.
Yeah.
They've been struggling all year from the Buffalo game up to Sunday. Stafford's been under duress pretty much all season. It's crazy. The only bright spot for the Rams on Sunday was Cooper Kupp, and he's been the bright spot pretty much the whole time he's been there. So, it seems like every week there's a game that kind of just has a big play that sets the losing team behind. I think it was the drop by Van Jefferson. He had a big drop early in the game.
Yeah, both teams had some drops. Yep.
Yeah. So despite the score, it's kind of set the day, kind of set the tone for them. But it was another one, somebody else I was going to talk about. But you go ahead, whatever you had on this.
Yeah, you was mentioning the offensive line. Both offensive lines are banged up. I think that's the main reason why the Bucks, they can't get anything established on the run. Because I know before the season they lost center Ryan Jensen, and then they lost a couple of more people during the season. But Tampa Bay, man, they couldn't. Scotty Miller dropped a touchdown. Mike Evans, he had a couple of drops. I know he was frustrated, but Tom Brady finally found something. They was calling him Baby Gronk. I forgot who said that, but the dude, Cade Otton, I think his name is. He's a tight end.
Yep.
They was calling him Baby Gronk. He kind of had a breakout game for himself. What my man ended up with, he had 5 receptions, 68 yards, and that touchdown. And on that game-winning drive, he had that big completion to get them in scoring range towards the end of the game. I don't know. I think after this game, Tom Brady has the most game-winning drives now. If he didn't have it already, I know he had it after this game.
Okay.
I don't know what was up with the Rams. It's like they were just playing like backing off a defender or the wide receivers. Scotty Miller was able to catch the ball and go right out of bounds. They did that like 3 or 4 times.
True.
I'm surprised Jalen, because I thought Aaron Donald was gonna make a play. I really did. I thought he was gonna make a play, but it didn't happen. It kind of reminded me of that Super Bowl when Tom was still with the Patriots and they beat the Rams. The score was like 13-7 or something. It was a low scoring game too. So I kind of feel like this game stung Aaron Donald. I think it might have reminded him of that Super Bowl, just the way it was a defensive game. And then Tom Brady at the end ripped the damn hearts out. I don't know if you saw Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich, they hugged each other. You would have thought like they just clinched a damn Super Bowl
exactly
the way they hug each other. I kind of get it though, Tom Brady, he dealing with all this stuff off the field, the divorce and everything, and they were on like a losing streak. So I know this game felt good to win.
I think I don't know if you saw it, Jalen Ramsey after the game, he was like, we weren't supposed to be back out there. Like we were supposed to put that game to rest beforehand. So he kind of like called out the offense because they was like, the reporter was like, you realize the fact that the offense couldn't get 10 yards, couldn't get a first down. He basically was just called out the offense. So that's very good point to talk about.
I think it was Cooper Kupp. He had a play, like they gave him like I don't want to say an end around. Maybe it was an end around, but he like slid. He took he slid on the ground to like keep the clock running. And people were thinking, well, maybe he should have just fought for those yards and got a first down because he slid before the first down, like, and then they had to punt the ball away. So maybe Jalen was talking about that, but they definitely got to get things figured out because, defense only gave up 16 points, but at the end of the game, you guys collapsed. I mean, Tom Brady, he drove the ball down the field like it was nothing, really, in my opinion. So we'll see what's going on with that one. But all right, though, let's go back over to the AFC. The Sunday night game last night, the Chiefs beat the Titans in overtime, 20-17. Ryan, I forgot the Tannehill, thank you. He didn't play today, so Malik Willis, he got to start. He finished with like 5 completions for like 80-something yards. He didn't really do much in the second half. That first half, he made a couple of nice throws, and they were able to run in the ball. But the second half, the Chiefs kind of got the running game under control for the Titans, and they were able to win a game. Now, I think if Tannehill was playing this game, the game would have been a little different. Because you look at Mahomes, he had a big game. He did everything. He threw the ball 68 times, I think. That's crazy. And he was a leading rusher. So, like, you look at those numbers, I think they had like 91 plays to 48 plays, and the Titans still almost won a game. They just could have got a little bit more offense out of those guys. I don't know. The Titans could have won this game. So I'm kind of, I don't want to say concerned about the Chiefs going forward, but I don't know. I mean, they won the game, but going forward, I don't know. You could have kind of see a chink in their armor. They can't run a ball. They got to do something about that. What did you think about this game? You saw this game, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Most passing yards, excuse me, the most passing attempts in Chiefs history. That's 68
Okay.
that you talked about there. Was a stat line I saw after the game. Mahomes also mentioned in the press post game conference that they've won games in every way this year, but
Yeah.
obviously this style right here, no matter what we think about Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, is not healthy. Dropping back 68 times, and then him also leading the team in rushing there. And yeah, it was just one game, but still, that's something to be. You got to be a bit concerned about if you're a Kansas City fan, despite the win. But yeah, Tennessee always plays Kansas City hard.
Yeah.
It's like them in Cincinnati seems
And it was
to
feisty
have,
too. They was up pushing
yeah,
each other and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, they got
yeah,
rivalry going on.
yeah. I think they go back in my memory. I mean, obviously several years, but the one I remember recently was the AFC Championship. What was that, 18? When they had I think that was them. Yeah, they played them at least in one AFC Championship. But yeah, they definitely a long-standing rivalry. But yeah, they had him on the ropes until that last overtime drive. Wills
Yeah.
was scrambling around. He got sacked. Then he nearly
Hmm.
threw the interception on fourth down, which they, can't blame him. It was like 4th and 20 something at that point. But you mentioned, we both mentioned the fact of Mahomes 68 pass attempts, but like you said,
Yeah.
Willis was 5 for 16. That reminds me of a Daniel Jones type game of years before. So if they have to stick with Willis, they're gonna want to try to simplify things for him moving forward. But another big game by Derrick Henry, 2
Yeah.
touchdowns. Like you said, they kind of held him in check later in the game. So yeah, Kansas City, they're right where they want to be right now, in a sense. Just behind Buffalo for the #1 seed in the AFC, right at the midway point. Wouldn't be surprised if they end up with the 1 seed. But we know how
Hmm.
Kansas City is able to pull out wins as time goes on. So yeah, congratulations to the Chiefs
Yeah.
on a big win on Sunday night.
I do want to say that Titans receivers, I don't think they really helped out Willis that much because
No
I remember
goddamn body. No help.
yeah, if you look at the stats, I don't think a receiver got a pass. I think it was only the tight ends and the running backs that maybe caught something. Because I remember he threw a nice ball to Chris
Yeah.
Conley and it just like fell through his hands. I was watching Skip and Shannon today, and as Shannon Sharp was like, I don't know if the Chris Conley, I guess he thought he had a basket in his hand because the ball fell through his hand. I thought that was pretty funny. I remember that play. But he made a couple of nice throws. He had a back
He
shoulder
did.
throw to the tight end that was almost a touchdown, but he fell at like the 1 yard line. It just they didn't help him out. And then that defense, man, Jeffrey Simmons and all them boys on that line, they was getting after Mahomes. He was running for his damn life.
Yeah.
He was leading the league and not leading the league, but leading the team in rushing. But he was running for his damn life a lot of them plays. He had like 2 or 3, maybe 1 or 2, but he had like 1 or 2 scrambles for like 16 yards, 20 yards. I know it was like a 3rd and 17. He
Yeah.
scrambled. He probably scrambled like 50 yards in that damn play just to get the first down. But they was definitely getting after him. I think the Titans going forward, man. I think they're gonna win the AFC South. I
Yeah, they
think
pretty much
so.
got that under lock right now. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good prediction. We'll see what happens. I make a damn prediction and the fucking world goes back.
looking back at the Titans though, real quick. I mean, they definitely, as I mentioned, they get under the skin of the Chiefs for sure. I've
Yeah,
never seen Travis Kelsey lose his composure, and they had that one interception where
yeah.
it went off the
Bounced
tip
off
of
his
his hands.
hands.
But like he was like a step ahead, or the ball was a step behind. It seemed like, and either way, it ended up in interception. And you just saw him walk back to the
Hmm.
sideline, just threw the helmet off in frustration. Like
Yeah,
you never see that out of Kansas City. So it's kind of funny to see as a non KC fan, but
yeah,
yeah, they still won, so it don't really help me out. But yeah, very very good rivalry there.
definitely.
All right, so Looking at some of the other games on the week 9 slate, the Seahawks, they improved to 6-3 after they beat the Cardinals 31-21. Patriots beat the hell out of the Colts. We know what happened after that game. Frank Reich got fired on Monday morning. The Jaguars, they beat the Raiders 27-20. Lions beat the Packers 15-9. Bengals, they drummed the Panthers 42-21 and sent
the game wasn't that close, folks. The game wasn't that close
yeah,
either.
definitely. I think Bengals kind of let off the gas pedal in that game. And they, we did see a little bit of bake there, and I think he was in there about a halftime or just after that. So
yeah.
And the Eagles, they beat the Texans 29-17. Which of these games caught your eye? Yeah.
Definitely the Seahawks. I, for some reason, thought the Cardinals would beat them, but the Seahawks defense and Geno Smith continue to tell me to shut the hell up. Jaguars and Raiders game. I'm wondering what's it going to take for McDaniels to get fired. Maybe they just can't fire him because it would look embarrassing. I don't know. Devontae Adams had a good game, at least.
He did.
Then the Lions beating the Packers, man. What are they? This is their 5th straight loss. Aaron Rodgers threw like 3 interceptions. It's looking ugly out in Green Bay. I wonder how that's going to turn out. Those are the main games that I kept my eye on, though, especially that Jaguars Raiders game. I was watching that a lot. But that Lions Packers game, I was kind of shocked by that. I thought they would get back on track, but Lions defense looked ready to play. Aiden Hutchinson had an interception. Another guy had an interception as well that Aaron Rodgers tried to pick on, but he told him, "You ain't picking on me, buddy. You're going to have a bad game going against me." That's certainly what he did. What about you? Which one of these, or which of these games had your eye on?
Yeah, the Jaguars and the Raiders. The Jaguars and the Raiders. The Jaguars and the Raiders. Yeah. The Raiders had them pretty good in the first half, and then they just couldn't score in the second half. I remember watching that game coming down to the wire. They're down in Duval, I believe it was.
Yeah.
The Patriots and the Colts, man, that defense up there got after Sam Ellinger all game long. He had 9 sacks. I think he had a fumble in that game. It was just an old-fashioned beatdown. Like I said, Bill Belichick always plays young quarterbacks very well. Yeah. And then that Thursday night game, too, was a little close early on until the Eagles pulled away in the second half. That Texans team, I think that score didn't reflect on how hard they played in that game, in my opinion. They definitely came Pierce
out. Was running that ball.
Yeah, they definitely came out and played a lot better than they did against the the Colts they played the week before or the Titans. No, they played the Titans the week before where Derrick Henry ran all over them, 200-some rushing yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, those 3 games right there for sure caught my eye. I was keeping a close eye on them.
All right, let's get into our players of the week. Let's start with the offensive player of the week. I gotta go with Joe Mixon, man. He had 5 total touchdowns. I think 4 was it 4 running and 1 catching?
I believe so.
Yeah, and he had 153 yards rushing and 58 yards receiving as well, man. I got to give my offensive player to Joe Mixon. What about you?
Not much of a stat line, but Cordell Patterson coming back for the Atlanta Falcons. And I know they lost and everything, but 13 carries, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, not enough to help the team win, but he was physical out there for the Falcons. I know they're happy to have him back to get the running game going out there again.
Yeah.
For Atlanta.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's a good pick. That dude, man, he kind of like revitalized his career
for sure
in Atlanta. I know he had a breakout year, if you could say, because he's an older guy in the league. But that last year, then even compounded onto this year, he's been doing great as a running back. So I wonder how long, if this will prolong his career or not. Salute to Cordero Patterson, though. On to the defensive side of the ball. Brandon, who you got?
Matthew Judon, linebacker, New England Patriots, 6 tackles, 4 solo, 3 sacks. 3 of those tackles were for losses. I mean, shit, just get the whole damn defense, the defensive player of the week, honestly. I mentioned it a moment ago, 9 sacks and held the Colts offense to less than 200 yards, surrendered all game long. And again, We talk about it. It led to the end of the Frank Reich regime officially there in Indianapolis. What about you?
My defensive player of the week, I'm gonna give it to the Lions safety Kirby Joseph.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers had 3 picks. Kirby Joseph picked them off twice. He also had 5 tackles, and he had 3 pass deflections as well. So he was a ball hawk basically yesterday, and he was a main reason why the Packers couldn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. So salute to Kirby Joseph, safety for the Detroit Lions. And now we go on to the special team player of the week. Last week I picked or the week before last I picked a punter, and I'm gonna continue with that trend. The Titans punter. What's my man's name? It is 1 second here, folks. Bear with me. Stonehouse, Ryan Stonehouse. He had 8 punts yesterday, 2 of them inside the 20, and one of them was 63 yards. And he also had that one nice punt where he kicked. It was in the middle field, but the ball dropped and bounced forward, and they had the Chiefs in bad field position to start that drive. So Ryan Stonehouse, that's my special team player of the week. What about you, Brandon?
I'm going to show some love to the punters this week too. Tampa Bay punter Jake Camarda, 6 punts for 357 yards. He had 4 of those pinned down inside the 20-yard line and a long punt of 74 yards. Damn. Wow.
Yeah, I think I picked him as a special teams player of the week before too. He might fuck around. He probably might be in a Pro Bowl. They listen to us.
Yep.
We'll see.
All right, so the bonehead play or call of the week, I'm going to go a little bit off script here. I was watching this Sunday Ticket on split screen, and I noticed that the Jets and Bills game, the block for it still said Jets and Bills, but it wasn't showing their game. It was showing one of the other games. I can't remember which exactly. So I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? So I go to the specific channel, and they're not saying anything. They're just showing the other game as it did on the block. Come find out, CBS Sports or whoever the hell is in charge of the cameras at MetLife on Sunday, they had a Skycam malfunction, caused a 12-minute delay. I mean, shit, that's almost an entire quarter.
Oh, I saw they were talking about that on Red Zone.
Yeah, it's crazy. Get it together. Y'all guys are paid professionals. You guys go to school for it. I understand mistakes happen, but damn, it's a professional damn game, and the damn Skycam comes down or has to come down, whatever the hell happened. I did go into my ESPN app and looked at it, and it was like, Skycam malfunction, this and that. So I turned back to the split screen, and then I turned back a few minutes later, and they was showing it on the sideline. They was like, yeah, it's a 12-minute delay. I'm like, ah, damn, that's wild.
Yeah, so, that is crazy. They were talking about that on Red Zone because they showed the Skycam. It was just hanging there. Yeah. I didn't know it was a 12-minute delay. Well, I guess because I was watching Red Zone, they just clicked to another game so they got it fixed. But wow, that is crazy. Damn. Yeah. That's definitely a bonehead play or call right there.
Yep.
My bonehead play of the week, I got to give it to the Falcons defender, Taquan Graham, I believe his name is, the guy who picked up the fumble, ran it. He ran it a good distance too. I think he ran about 20 yards before the ball slipped out of his hand. I don't know what you call it, but that fumble, the Chargers recovered the ball and they marched down the field again for Dicker to kick the game-winning field goal. If the guy would have just fell down or just recovered the ball, who knows? The Falcons would have been driving down the field. And they, of course, every time somebody fumbles, they show him on the sideline.
Yeah.
My God, that dude, he looked miserable. I kind of felt bad for him. But the same, I think I texted you about that too, matter of fact. I was like, man, I'm watching this damn Falcons. Did you see this clown? Yeah. I kind of felt bad for him after because you saw his face. He's just like, oh God, I can't. I know he felt bad. Yep. I know he did. I think their coach said something to him after the game too, or try to make him feel a little better after the game, like don't hold your head. But yeah, I know he ain't sleep too well last night. So Taquan Graham, man, you the bonehead player of the week for me, man.
All right, so Monday Night Football, we got the Ravens and the Saints. I think Ed and I have not been very good at picking games. I'm going to do my best D'Angelo Hall impression or whatever. When D'Angelo Hall, they don't have it anymore, but he was on NFL Network on Good Morning Football Weekends. Yeah. It's a Saturday show. And he used to pick every game except for the Washington Commanders because he was in the booth. And I think it was like something in his contract. So I'm not going to comment on this game because it's my team. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm sorry, man, but the Ravens, I think they're going to win. Now, I think the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've been wrong. Well, hold
Yeah.
on, because we both picked the Chiefs played Monday night a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, these clowns. Was it the
Chiefs
Chiefs?
Raiders.
Yeah, I think it was. Was
Yeah,
it
and the
that?
Raiders came out hot and heavy early on and
Yeah, we
then
were like,
gave
oh,
it up.
look again, they're gonna ruin it.
Yep.
And then we were wrong. Well, both of us were wrong. Mark was right. He picked the Browns. We picked the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Browns came out and stomped them out for the most part. But I think the Ravens should be able to win, man. I don't. Now they are. I don't. Is Mark Andrews playing?
He's out.
Mark Andrews is out. I like Isaiah Likely. You talked about him.
Mhm.
They drafted him. I know you mentioned him in the preseason and said he looks like he'll be a good player because he had a breakout game. I don't know if it was last week. It might have been the week before last. No, it was that game where
It
Harbaugh
was
gave a damn game ball to the
Thursday
defensive
night game. Yeah.
coordinator.
Yep.
See Likely, get it, Likely. Well, McDaniels or whatever his name was.
Yep.
But I gotta go with the Ravens. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully y'all win. And now I do, for fantasy purposes, I hope Lamar Jackson hands the ball off like 90 times or something.
Yeah.
He all he needs is 13 points and the dude I'm
Okay.
playing against wins. So that should be no issue. But I think the Ravens should win this game, man. I just think they got a better team. Lamar Jackson's going to be the X factor, in my opinion, and y'all should win, but we'll see what happens.
But that Saints defense is good against the run, so we'll see how they how Greg Roman, what the game plan is.
Yeah.
There tonight. And speaking of D'Angelo Hall, I see he's on the NFL Network pregame game day kickoff for Monday night. I see now. I kind of missed that Good Morning Football Weekend show. Just a side note. I used to get a lot of my picks from there with the guys on there. But yeah, special thank you to all of our listeners. We really appreciate y'all tuning in every week and giving us feedback. Get ready for a big Thursday night football contest. Both teams are coming off the loss, but hopefully it's something decent. Falcons and Panthers. We'll be back to preview. We'll be back to preview Week 10 on Friday, the remainder of the Week 10 games. But for now, that's the latest episode of the B&E podcast. Peace and love, everyone.
Peace. Fucking Falcons and Panthers is the God, what they thinking, man?